Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me today. Um, our first free masterclass that we're giving out. I see some Notary Academy students here, some that I'm sure are not, probably don't even know what Notary Academy is. So thank you all so much for joining us today. I have a lot of really great tips to share with you on how to market and grow your notary business to learn effective notary marketing strategies. So as we go through this, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will try my hardest to answer them as we go along. We are still letting a few more people in. And let me just get to my notes. So for those of you that do not know me, you may have received an email for the masterclass through Seal the Deal National Signing Service. My name is Kimberly Sennett, and I am the owner of Seal the Deal National Signing Service. I am also the co-owner of Notary Academy. Some of you may have even received some training from Notary Academy. I would like to make it very clear to all of you that if you're looking for Notary Academy, our email address is www.mynotaryacademy.com. We have actually been in business since 2020. You may have ran across another Notary Academy that goes by the Notary Academy. They are a business that started in 2022, and we are currently in a trademark infringement lawsuit with them. So please do not get confused, as I know many of you have had consumer confusion. Our website is mynotaryacademy.com, and the logo that you see in the middle of this page is our logo. So anything that has to do with us will have this logo on it. Going back to Notary Academy, going into business since 2020, the reason why we formed Notary Academy is because myself and the co-founder of Notary Academy, Laura Tasadri, who is also a national signing service owner. She owns Notary Zoom Signings. Both her and I created our signing services back in 2019. And in 2019, we had the most stressful years of our entire lives. We learned very quickly that most notaries do not know what they are doing, and they do not have the foundational skills that they need in order to be successful. So we created Notary Academy. We had a lot of people that paid it forward for us in this business, and we felt that it was equally as important to pay it forward for others. But also, quite frankly, you guys, we're running national signing services. You pose a huge liability to our companies if you don't know what you're doing. And when it comes to signing services, the title and escrow companies do contract with us so that they can deal directly with us and not have to deal with hundreds, if not thousands of notaries. And if there is a problem with a notary, they come after the signing service first. And then the signing service gets to deal with the notary and going after the notary and the notary's insurance and all that. So you can understand how important it is for us as signing service owners to make sure that notaries really truly know what they are doing. So that is why we did form Notary Academy. We provide all the notary training that you need. We are not in every single state, but we do provide loan signing training for every single state. The reason I bring all of this up to you guys is because you need to be prepared when it comes to going out there and marketing your business. And that's what today is all about. You need to understand that there's a fine line to when you are ready to actually market your notary business. So you want to make sure that as excited as you are to get out there, you might have your notary commission, you might have all of your supplies. Make sure that you truly are ready to go market. And that means that you need to have your foundational skills down. You need to know what a compliant notary certificate looks like in your state. You need to understand what capacity is. You need to understand how to notarize properly in your state. If you do not have this down pat, if you do not know what a warranty deed or a grant deed, if you do not know what escrow does, things like that, then you probably should not be out marketing yet. If you're wanting to market for general notary work, same thing. You need to make sure that you have your foundation down, because you might not be notarizing for real property, but you are still notarizing documents, and it's very important that you understand your laws and your regulations for your state. So that's going to be your, what I like to say, your uno number one, making sure that you are prepared. So you have your laws, your foundation. Now, the next thing is you want to make sure that you have all of your marketing materials in hand. How are you planning to market your business? Are you going to just use business cards? Are you going to do flyers? What is it that you are deciding to do to market your business? And everybody's different. You have to do what works best for you. And we're going to go through all the different ways and different techniques of marketing. So as you can see in this first one here, I have said, know your laws and foundations, have your marketing materials in hand and ready, your business cards, flyers, and gifts. There's some people that will say, don't bring gifts. Again, this is your business, so you get to decide how you want to market. And we're going to go through every single one of those stages of what it looks like to just do business cards or what it looks like to bring a gift. The other thing is that I believe that you should practice. So practice what you're going to say. And we're going to talk about that towards the end of this presentation, but practice with anybody. Okay. If that means it's a stuffed animal, if it's a dog, a family member, a spouse, whoever it is, you absolutely should practice, because if you're not a natural extrovert, you're not a natural marketer or salesperson, it can be kind of hard to get in front of somebody. You kind of feel like you're shaking like a leaf, you're nervous. And honestly, even when you do have the confidence, you still sometimes feel that little flicker inside of you, the butterflies, that you're nervous. So you want to practice so that you can gain the confidence that you need in order to get in front of people. Listen, when you're not confident, people can tell. And when they can tell, it makes them not want to use your services. And the reason why is because it makes them feel like maybe you're not going to be a good extension of them at the signing table. That if you're not prepared enough and comfortable enough to just talk to your client, what makes them feel that you're going to be comfortable enough talking to their client? So I hope that makes sense to you. A lot of us can be introverts or can be scared of doing things like this. But you have to understand that you're a business owner. And unfortunately, when it comes to being a business owner, you have to be a salesperson. How else will you gain business if you're not? And so you have to exude that confidence. So before you just jump out and go marketing to just whoever, you need to spend time doing research. You need to know who works in certain offices. You need to check your office hours. You need to know who's maybe the office manager. You need to do lots of research. If you're a loan signing agent and you're looking to market, Some of those things that you would want to find out would be like if you were going to market to a real estate office, you would want to know who the office manager is. That would be the number one person you would want to connect with, because you would want to go into that office and you would want to ask them when their weekly or monthly meetings with their agents are. And you would want to find out if you could bring in some coffee or donuts or sandwiches and you could attend those meetings. A lot of times you will get a office manager that says, absolutely. They will let you attend the meetings and they will let you stand up and speak to those agents for 5 minutes and let them know why they should use your services. So make sure that you're researching. Also, if you're doing it for loan signing, if you're going into like an escrow office, you would want to know, who are the escrow officers in that office. The reason you would want to know that is because you don't want to just walk in there blindly. If you know who the escrow officer is, that's going to give you a little bit of a step up where you can go in and you can ask for that escrow officer by name. And I'm going to give you some tips and some tricks on some things that you can say when you do go into those offices. Okay, so how are we going to market our services effectively? How are we reaching our target audience? Have you ever even thought of that? Who's my target audience? If I'm a notary, who am I looking for business from, right? So let's ask ourselves, what do we live nearby? Okay, and here's a list here. Do you live near a hospital or hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, car dealerships, hotels, title and escrow companies, trucking companies, adoption agencies, health departments? These are all facilities that use notaries on a regular basis. Honestly, most businesses at some point in time will need notarizations. These are a great guideline for you guys to be able to use to determine what is your niche or what is your market? What does your area bear? So if you have a lot of hospitals and nursing homes, assisted livings, things like that, then you would know that you're probably going to be a notary that is going to market living trust and powers of attorneys, things like that, because those are the most common forms and documents that usually get notarized in those types of facilities. Why would we put a hotel down? Hotel, you would want to go to the hotel concierge and tell them that you are a notary in the community and that you would like to leave your business cards for any of their hotel guests that may need notary services. All of these are great places to start with. If you decide that you want to just concentrate on one, or you decide that you want to concentrate on many, these are great places for you to market your services too. And like I said, at the beginning of this portion is that there's probably many businesses that need services, right? Need notary services. So if you were to not research and just cold market and walk into office buildings, you could easily market to any business, because even if they don't use notary services on a regular basis, they may use them from time to time, and it might just be a business that you can pick up into your rotation, if that makes sense. I just read Audra's in the chat. She said she practiced with her teenage son and he was the worst client ever, but it fully helped her to be more prepared. And I love that. Sometimes you can have that a family member that tries to make it very difficult for you. And it's good because it does help you kind of overcome some of the objections that people have. So I want you guys to keep in mind that marketing is a process that it can take a while before you get what I say a bite, right? So you have to remember that consistency is key and that you might have to continue to market to somebody for 6, 7, 8 months before they might call you for services. So you have to remember that not only is consistency key, but that you also, there's a fine line. You don't want to be overbearing and annoying either. So you need to be able to really determine how often you should go to market to these people, whether it's in person or it's through email marketing. So let's move on to once we have determined who our target audience is. Now it's time to form your marketing plan. So here are 5 different techniques or 5 different marketing techniques that you can use in order to market your notary business. You could concentrate on one of these or all of these. Okay, so the first one we have is email marketing and CRMs. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each of these and why I personally, in my opinion, think that they're good or bad, right? So email marketing and CRMs. I think that email marketing is fabulous. I think it's a great way to connect with people, and especially if you are a signing agent. There's a lot of escrow officers that spend a lot of time in their inbox and their emails, so chances of them seeing it are great. Chances of them reading it, it just depends on that particular escrow officer. What they don't want to see is a bombardment of emails over and over of use my notary service. This is my notary service. My notary service is so great. Use my notary service. Nobody wants to see that. And I'll be quite honest with you, I get that often as a signing service owner. I get a lot of notaries that send me, I service this area. I've done, they're telling me about themselves, which is great, but I can find out all that information on the platform. I can find out how many signings you've done or how experienced you are. I can look at your credentials. I've only had one time ever since 2019. I've only had one time ever, and it was recently, where a notary actually sent me a Monday morning email, and it was a truly personable email. She told me about what they did over the weekend, she told me about her child getting ready to graduate high school. It was personable enough that it made me connect with her. I remembered it, and I remembered that I was like, okay, this makes me feel like this person really cares about their business and that they're really trying. And so I hired her, and I've given her several signings since. I've marked her preferred, and I was impressed with the fact that this email was, I won't lie, it was a little long, but it was attention grabbing. So if you can put together an email with, a small paragraph, but you really connect to somebody, and I wouldn't send it to, 5 people on the email list. I would make it where it was really curtailed for that person. So now people say, well, gosh, I don't have time to do all that. Well, the pros of using a CRM is that you have that automation where you can schedule it to just go out. That's the con, is be careful. And I'm going to switch to this screen, this next screen, just to show you. That's what I've put here for emails and CRMs. The automation, that's great, right? That's a pro. But it fails to really provide that personalization. By you just going and taking the time to really just write out a thoughtful email, that can be huge versus just setting an automation. So I hope that makes sense. Moving on, the next one would be cold calling. Let me go back for a second too. For emailing, you want to be careful. Like I said, you don't want to bombard somebody every single Monday. I really think it really depends on the relationship. If you don't have a relationship with somebody, I think once a month or once every 3 weeks is sufficient enough. Just to keep you in mind. And again, it could take up to 8 months or a year or possibly never, but consistency is key. Okay. The next one is cold calling and telemarketing. I believe this one is especially huge for signing services. As a signing service owner, and I know Laura would tell you the same thing, we get notaries that email us all the time. Like I just told you guys, pick me. I'm in this area. I have this loan signing certification. Pick me kind of thing. Picking up the phone and calling your signing services is huge. It's the same way as building a relationship with a direct client. This is the way you do it. And you might have the objection and say, well, that signing service never answers their phone. Okay, well, then go find a different phone number. Go find a different contact. Email them and tell them that you really need to speak to somebody. Ask for a phone number. Be a little pushy until you can contact somebody. And then when you do, call them and talk to them. Exude that confidence. Tell them that you want to be their number one signer and that you want to be on their preferred list and that you really want to build a relationship and do good work for them. Hearing that from somebody and hearing their confidence and letting us know their skill that they have, it makes a huge difference. But don't lie. If you're a brand new notary, do not lie. Do not call the signing service and tell them that you have done hundreds of signings if you have not done hundreds of signings. Because we can tell pretty quickly if you're not telling the truth. And it's okay as a marketing technique to tell people that you are new, but ensure them that you have 2 or 3 signing certifications, or you're a Notary Academy student and you take ongoing training and education on a regular daily basis, and that you absolutely know your notarial laws, skills, and foundation. That is huge, and that is a great way to market yourself. Okay, so with cold calling and telemarketing, like I said, calling signing services, awesome, great. I wouldn't necessarily call escrow and title companies as a signing agent because they're busy and they don't want to take your phone calls. It is one of the reasons they do prefer to work with signing services, so they have their one point of contact and they don't have to deal with multiple notaries. Now, the con to this, of course, is the rejection. You can easily get people to hang up on you. You can easily get where you can't get a hold of anybody. There's always going to be, a downside to telemarketing or cold calling, right? But I wouldn't discount it. If you're willing to sit and plan out everybody that you want to call, including other like offices, medical offices, or any kind of business office, attorneys, calling them and just introducing yourself, seeing if you can stop into their office to bring in your business cards, things like that. It doesn't hurt. You might make 25 calls and you might have 24 people reject you, and the 25th call you might get somebody that says, yes, we would love you to come into the office, or we are looking for a notary. You just don't know. And it sometimes can be a matter of numbers, right? So you might have to call 100 people before you get that one bite, that one person. And that's kind of what marketing can be all about in a way too, is that it's a numbers game. You continue to go and go and go and go, and then you finally get that one person, that one bite that says yes. And then it's kind of a high, when you finally do get somebody to say yes, and then you continue on. Okay, so Daisy, preferred means you're offered the signing first before others. Yes. So being preferred is getting on a preferred list. Many signing services, we have notaries that we have on a preferred, or mine, I have them arranged where we have preferred, semi-preferred, and then we just have the notary list. So a lot of times to get on a semi-preferred with us is you're a Notary Academy student, you've passed Notary Academy certifications, and we're like, okay, let's give this person a try. Or you've done a permit run for us and you did a great job executing it. So we put you on the semi-preferred list. We have you do a few more things, and then we will mark you preferred as long as, all assignments go well. The next technique that we have is warm market and street cred. I love street cred. Okay, so what I mean by that is your warm market, of course, is your family and friends. And many of you will see that getting into this business as new notaries, you think, cool, my brother-in-law is a real estate agent, or cool, my aunt is a loan officer. And you think immediately, like, these people are going to help you. 9 times out of 10, they're not. They're not going to help you. And that's okay. That's okay, because you need to build your own business. You need to not work off the backs of people that you know, and you will feel more proud of yourself that you did it on your own. And somebody said it once, I can't remember who, but they said something like, your family or your friends are the ones that see you, camping and see you acting up and being silly and stuff like that. So maybe they can't take you as serious in the professional world because they see you in all realms, right? So don't worry about it. But one of the best things, and I say warm market and street cred, and reason why it is a marketing technique is because take the people that you're acquaintances with. Take the people that you know, but you don't really know, okay? And use those people as your street cred. So if you know a real estate agent that you're friendly with, that maybe your kids go to school together, right? And maybe this is a real estate agent that you've never done any transactions with, you never talked business with, but you're friendly with this person, right? Start talking to them. Find out what escrow companies they work with. Tell them that you're a notary, that you're a signing agent, you're looking to grow business, and you're just wondering like what companies they work with. Again, you're not asking this person for anything other than who they work with. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go into that escrow company and you're going to say, hi, I'm Kimberly Sennett, and one of my great friends, Mary Smith, real estate agent, she told me that you guys are an amazing escrow company and that she works with you guys, and I should come in and say hello. So I wanted to come in and introduce myself, give you my business card, let you guys know that I am in the community. I would love the opportunity to work with you guys. Bam, right there. They're going to listen to you because Mary Smith sent you into that office, right? So street cred can be a huge thing. Even if you work with another notary in your area, a lot of times we consider ourselves to be each other's competition, but we're not. We're absolutely not each other's competitions. We are really here to help and support one another. And if you can get another notary in your community that you do what I call gentlemen's deals, where if you're busy and you can't do something, you get them to do the signing for you and you pay a small commission for it. Bring them into your offices, introduce them to your people. Let them know that, hey, I'm an amazing notary, but I also have this amazing notary here to help you guys as well. Because now you're showing your office that you're not stingy and that you're providing them a great notary and great service when you can't be there. So I think that anytime you can find any kind of street cred, going to networking groups and getting people's business cards and meeting those people and then finding out who they work with. It's okay to ask them and then go in and tell, oh yeah, I go to this networking group with Ralph all the time. I see him every week and he says you guys are amazing and I should be on your team because you guys are like the best to work with. I want to be on the most amazing team ever. It's okay to talk to people like that. People are people. How do you want to be talked to? Right? The same way is that don't go in there shaking like a leaf. Go in there with that confidence of how do I want somebody to approach me? I'm going to approach them the same way that I want them to approach me. Okay, moving on to oh wait, I didn't show you your pros and your cons of your warm market. So having help or knowing someone is the pro, right? And then the con is the potential to ruin relationships and money. If you're working with a family member and let's say that family member decides to vouch for you and takes you into escrow or takes you into somewhere and gives you business and something goes wrong, something goes south, and now your family member's upset with you because the reflection is upon them as well, since they're the ones that offered to give you the business, right? And then also to be careful working with friends and family. Money always ruins everything. Greed and that sort of thing. So just be careful when you're working with friends or family. You want to make sure that you take it with a grain of salt and make sure that the deals you're doing are going to be worthwhile for everybody involved. Okay, going back to networking and social media. So networking and social media is huge. This is a great technique, okay? So when you're networking and you join networking events, I see notaries that go to these events one time, 2 times, pass out their business cards, and never go back. Terrible idea. Networking events are an awesome opportunity for you to get people in your community to know you. And you should go to them often and consistently. So either you find a Rotary Club or a BNI group, or you find a loan officer. Lots of loan officers usually have networking groups that they attend, okay? And they will usually only allow one notary in those groups. They allow one person of each profession. So I know like the BNI groups are expensive, and I know that you have to, have attendance. And if you're not there, you have to have a substitute and all these rules. But there are networking groups out there that you do not need to have any of that. They don't charge you. They do like you to be consistent in your attendance, but they don't expect you to have a substitute or anything of that nature. If you can find a group that meets on a weekly basis, usually they'll meet very early in the morning, usually like 7 in the morning. So you still have plenty of times to go return docs or make your first morning appointment. But it's super important that you go and that they're consistent. I know it's early and sometimes it can be a little bit of a daunting task, but it does pay off. Once you go to these networking events and you continue to go on a regular basis, people start to get to know you when they're chatting with their communities and their business and they need a notary. They go, oh, Daisy, she's in my group. She's in my networking group. And they'll give that your information. So you want to make sure that you are consistent so they know who you are and that you participate in the group too. Don't just sit back and show up every week and not participate and not let people know exactly who you are and why you are there. Okay, that's very important. Yeah, Jill Yeaman, you put Chamber of Commerce offshoot group in my area. Chamber of Commerce are great community places to network, especially for general notary work. Samantha, we are in a very small community. How do we find these, or will we require traveling to larger places? Are these online options? Yeah, Samantha, so here's the thing is that if you're in remote areas where you don't have a lot of the places that I've mentioned, yeah, hopefully you're in a state that does RON signings. So you would need to stick to that, but you ultimately may need to drive too. I mean, especially in remote areas where there's not a lot of notaries, you can usually get higher fees because you're in demand. If there's nobody there, we need to have somebody. I would definitely stick to possibly emailing if you're in a remote area. Maybe that would be out of these 5 techniques. Emailing, marketing, CRMs might be your friend in a remote area. I will tell you guys this, which I think is, I like to tell people this as a signing service owner, believe it or not, 90% of my clientele I have never met in person. 90% of my clientele I have never met in person. I have gotten the business through email and referral. So that should speak volumes, because if I can do that as a signing service owner, you certainly can do it as an individual notary. Absolutely can happen. The bigger you become in your community, the better off you are, because people know that you're the notary in the community. So using social media to market yourself, what you want to do is look at Facebook groups. Do you have a community Facebook page? Do you have a neighborhood watch page? You also want to look up loan officers, escrow officers, but you don't want to market to them where you're just sending them a message and saying, hey, use me, I'm a notary, I can help you. You want to build a relationship. So the way that you go about doing that is finding these people on social media, seeing if you can friend them. If you can't friend them, comment on their things that they put out, because a lot of times loan officers, real estate agents, escrow officers, they're going to put out posts that are public posts. So you could comment on them and you can like them and you can say things like, oh my gosh, I love that you're doing this event. Or, if somebody's on there, wow, you look so pretty today. It doesn't matter what you say, engage though. And engage multiple times, where finally, when you do get face-to-face with them and you introduce yourself to them, they know your name. I've had many times where I've done this online, and then I finally got an event, a community event that I got to go to, where all of these people were present, and I would walk up and say, hi, I'm Kimberly Sennett, and they go, oh my gosh, oh, I know you. And I'm like, yeah, we know each other online, because they think that they know me based off of my name. But then when they realize is that we've actually never met. And so it gives us the opportunity then to have that one-on-one. But they feel like they already know me because I've done enough engagement in the networking and social media realm that it makes them comfortable. Does that make sense? So by doing that, you then can give your business card and say, I'd love to be able to provide you services. I'm telling you guys, I've done this many times and it works. I give them my business card and usually the next day they're calling me for business. Okay. Because now you're top of mind. Your name, they remembered you. Now they've met you face to face. And now we're ready to move our relationship to the next step of they trust me enough to get business, to give me business. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. So let's look at the pros and cons of our network in social media. Our pros is that it's going to give you huge exposure. It's also going to give you community. And so I have branded myself. I have a domain. I'm KimberlySennett.com. And I have made sure that I'm in all of my community pages on Instagram and Facebook. So everybody in my little community where I live, they know that I am a notary. And so whenever somebody says, "Oh, I need a notary for this or that," I get 10 people that go and tag me in those pages. Okay. So it works. Now, the cons to this, like I was telling you, for the networking group, sometimes there's fees, there's dues, there's attendance. You have to be consistent, and you have to have somebody that will be a substitute for you if you don't show up. Some of these groups, though, depending on the chapter, they might have so many people in their group that it might be very valuable for you to be a part of that group. It might be very worthwhile for you to pay the money. So even though I put it as a con, I just put it that way because it is an extra expense, but don't completely discount it if you have to pay for it. Look at what that group is going to offer you and how many members are in that group, and if it is something that you feel will give you a leap pad to more business. Okay, our last one, gift giving and hitting the pavement. So this one, I think everybody has a little bit of a different idea about gift giving. Some people will put a little bit of candy in a bag and a pen and take it in, and it works for them. You have to remember that just because you're giving a gift doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a dynamic personality to give with that gift. Okay? A lot of times, if you just walk in and give a gift, a small little gift and a business card and run out, your treats are probably going to get put in the trash, or they're going to take out what they like and the rest are going to be put in the trash. And I know that's disheartening, but I've been in many of these escrow offices and I see it happen right in front of my face. I've had escrow officers that literally turn around and say, "Here, pick what you want out of this," and then they throw it in the trash to me and say, "Here, take this, take that." And it's like, that's disheartening. If you don't want your stuff to go in the trash, if you don't want them to go share it with the notary that they are giving the business to and then putting it in the trash, then figure out what you need to do for that not to happen. For me personally, I think that if you're going to do gift giving, I feel like a grandiose, but not so grandiose that it makes people uncomfortable, but a grandiose centerpiece, a big enough gift that makes people remember. So one of the things that I use, and feel free to use it, I'm sharing it with you because I think it's a great technique. I buy big popcorn buckets and I fill them with dollar store candy and like zebra popcorn and different things like that. And then I have a little flyer, and my flyer, I do Disney theme, but you could do anything. You could do, any kind of character you like or no character at all. And on my flyer, I have Mickey Mouse, and he's holding a bucket of popcorn. And it says, "I'm just popping on by to say hello." Sometimes they put, "I'm just popping on by to say nice to meet you." Um, and then I have this little flyer, and it talks about me. And it says, "I take pictures of your signers at the signing table." um that I give, and I'll give these like to loan officers, and I'll say, "I will help you grow your business by asking your signers for referrals." um I wanted to come in and introduce myself and give you this little basket, let you know that I am a notary in the community. I just want you guys to know that I have, 3 loan signing certifications. I can walk your buyers or sellers through documents, no problem. Whatever it is that you want to say to them, but Something like that definitely makes somebody go, "Wow, that was pretty cool. That's a nice little, like, basket. That was fun," whatever. And a basket like that's not gonna go in the trash. It's gonna go home, and they're gonna give it to their kids, or they're definitely gonna do, or, regift it or whatever, but it's definitely not going in the trash. A lot of times you might not have a lot of money to do the gift giving, and that's okay too. That's where your confidence, you need to rely on your confidence and exude that confidence. So when you go out and hit the pavement, the way that you exude that confidence is by knowing your foundations, your laws, and your skills. When you go in and you talk to, let's say you're going to market to an escrow officer, you need to convey to that escrow officer, not that you're not going to miss signatures, dates, and initials and you point and sign here. You need to convey to that escrow officer that you absolutely understand the difference between a interspousal deed and a deed of trust, and that you understand that if you have an interspousal deed and the person that's supposed to be signing that deed is not present, that you're going to do everything in your power to find out where that person is and to get that deed signed, because you understand the importance of getting that deed signed and that the loan can't fund or record without it. Being able to convey to your signer, or being able to convey to your client that you understand the process, you understand the documents, and you understand them well, these are the things that are going to get them to remember you. Having quality products, telling them that you have a scanner or printer in your car, that's a game changer when it comes to escrow. So you want to make sure that you do tell them that, invite them to come out to your car. Invite them to come out and actually look at your setup. I know several escrow officers that are amazed by this. They're such wow, they can't believe it that you have an office in the back of your car. It's a great marketing technique. Daryl, you said, I am new but not new to being a notary, commissioned, but I haven't conducted a signing. I live in PG County, Maryland, 10 minutes from DC and 10 minutes from Virginia, known as the DMV area. Once I market my company, I need to be ready to work. I wanted to ensure I was prepared before marketing. Thank you for these tips. The light bulb is going off now. Social media networking will be the preferred option for me. Good. Very good. I love that. See, Danielle's on here right now too. Danielle is our Florida advisor for Notary Academy, and she actually used to be in the DMV area. So she's a great person to chat with. And then also I don't think she's on the call today, Gail Gentry. She is our Maryland Notary Academy advisor. So, they're great people to connect with. I'm glad that you've already decided that your networking and social media is where you're going to focus on. So I think it's great to focus on one and then continue to grow and focus on, all 5 techniques once you're ready and you get there. I want to go back and look at my notes really quick to make sure I haven't missed anything that I wanted to tell you guys. So I did put here, you need to learn to be a salesperson. Why should someone use your service? You need to really think about that and think about, you're just a notary, you think, but you're not. You're running a business and you have to be a salesperson so that people can really truly get to know you. You also need to cast a wide net is what I say. Focus on your community, but it's okay to go outside of your community. Like I said, you might have to speak to 100 people before you get one person that bites. So it's okay to cast a wide net, because you never know how you might be able to help them. They might be far away, but you still might be able to help them in some way. The telemarketing, I would like to go back on that too. So telemarketing, like I said, you could call any business, and all you need to say to them is, hi, my name's Kimberly Sennett. I am a mobile notary in the community, And I was wondering if your business ever needs notary services. That's all you have to say. And they might say, no, we don't use notary services at all, and hang up on you. Or they might say, yeah, but we already have a notary in the office. Okay, great. When they say that, say, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Now you need to write down their office, and you need to go into that office, because now they've told you that they do have notary services and that they have a notary that they use. Now it's your chance to go in there, introduce yourself, and give your card, because you never know when that notary is going to be on vacation or their commission has expired and they need a backup. Just because somebody needs a backup and they only use you once doesn't mean that they're not going to use you again. I have several clients that I met 4 or 5 years ago that used me for one-offs, and then I might not have heard from them again until a year later, but they continue to use my services. They might not use them once every 6 months or once every 3, but they continue to call me and use me throughout the years. And the more that you have clients like that, you'll see that it's on a rotational basis all the time, where things quiet down, and then all of a sudden you're going to hear from a client that you haven't heard from in, 6 to 8 months, and be able to do business for them. Okay. Also, be willing to do what other notaries aren't willing to do. That does mean drive. Be willing to go places that other notaries won't. If we look at the last thing on here for the gift giving and hitting the payment, again, the pro to it is that you get exposure. You start to be known in your community, right? The con, it could be costly. However, there's a lot of gifts and things that you could give out through the dollar store that aren't that costly, that could be thoughtful, small little things that people can remember you by. So, effective marketing strategies for notaries. Like I told you, engage with clients through targeting, social media, and local networking events. Don't just start asking for business. Make sure that you build a relationship. Okay. And then once you build a relationship, then you could send a private message to the loan officer or whoever you're building that relationship with, and ask them if they could go out for coffee, or ask if you can come into their office and introduce yourself, or find a networking event that they are advertising and go to that networking event. I'll give you an example. I had Movement Mortgage. I really wanted to get in with them. They're local in my community. I did watch some of the loan officers online for a while. And then I saw that they were doing a Halloween networking event in their office. And I knew that if I showed up at that networking event, that I was probably just going to get looked over, because they're having this networking event to grow their business, and for me to go in there and to try to grow my business during their event, it just didn't sound like that would work for me. So what I did is I went the day before the event, and I brought a little basket full of Halloween candy, and I walked into the office and I asked for the loan officer, and I said, I saw that you're having this event tomorrow for Halloween, and I was so excited because I really wanted to come and attend it. But unfortunately, I have signings tomorrow. None of this was the truth. But I knew that it would give me my time with this loan officer to be remembered, right? So I did exactly that. I said, I'm so sorry I can't attend, but I brought this candy that I hope you'll share with the event tomorrow. I'd love to give you my business cards. I'd love to come to future events, and I'd love the opportunity to work with you. I've been working with them ever since. That's all it took. So, You can think about like creative ways to get in to speak to somebody where I'm telling them, hey, I was going to support this event. I really wanted to be a part of it and I can't, but here, let me help you out in your business. And it worked. So, utilizing social media platforms to showcase your services and engage with potential clients in your community effectively. You need to be tech savvy. If you're going to do this business, you really do need to be tech savvy. You need to know how to run social media. You need to know how to run a printer. You need to know how to run Adobe. You need to learn Canva, and you need to know which platforms work best for you. Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it LinkedIn? Is it all of them? It's okay if you just focus on one platform and what works best for you. If you can do multiple, you should. But being able to get people to know who you are and grow your business is huge. If you're not on social media, if you're not on Google, you absolutely should be. You need to focus on building those relationships and leveraging your local networks to grow your notary business. So, like I said, reach out to a loan officer for a coffee date. If you're not using the Scotsman's Guide, you should be using that. What is the Scotsman's Guide? Right? Everybody's probably like, wait a second, what is that? If you're a signing agent, that Scotsman's Guide is awesome. So you can find out who all the heavy hitter loan officers are. You can find out who's the top in the country. You can search all kinds of information about loan officers in the Scotsman's Guide and then start following them. Start reaching out to them. So, a lot of times for me, that was always a big thing. As a signing agent, loan officers are huge for me because I know a loan officer can get me into escrow. Sometimes getting into escrow isn't as easy. And a loan officer and a real estate agent, everybody just leaves it up to escrow to handle who's going to do the signing. But when you get a loan officer that really truly cares about their clients and they care about what happens, you can talk them into getting escrow to use you. It's how I've gotten into most of my escrow offices. At first, does it piss escrow off? It does. Escrow usually doesn't like it. They usually have their go-tos. They usually have their approved list, and they don't want people telling them what to do. However, you have to remember a loan officer is and I tell the loan officer this, you're the head honcho. You're the one controlling this. You're the one pulling the strings. Why don't you get to choose your notary? Of course you can choose your notary. You just have to push that escrow officer. And this is what I tell the loan officer. And so if you can get a loan officer on your side, you can get them to tell escrow that they'll write a hold harmless from their corporate office, that if they use you and anything goes wrong, they will take full responsibility for you. You can, once you work with that escrow and you start to build a relationship with that escrow, then you can more than likely get on their approved list. But it is one way of getting into an escrow office without actually having to market directly to the escrow officer. So I hope that that kind of helps you see that, there is that possibility of getting into escrow, which we call, a backdoor kind of way. Again, though, you have to get loan officers that actually care about their business. And one of the ways that you tell them is you say, hey, I'm the last person that your clients see in this transaction. And I love to give your buyers the best experience ever. I take pictures at the signing table. I will even take a video of testimony of how their whole transaction went, that they can share on social media. If you have closing gifts you want me to bring to your clients for the closing, I'll be happy to do so. Those are all huge things. Also telling the loan officer, hey, at the end when I'm done, I will tell your signers that the biggest form of flattery is referrals for a loan officer. And if they have any friends or family that they can refer to this loan officer, that would be huge. And loan officers love that. And I also tell them, hey, if I can help you grow your business, it's going to help me grow my business. The more loans that you do and you allow me to sign for you, that's the more business I get. So why, of course I'm going to help you. So I like to market to loan officers for that exact reason. And like I said, you're going to get a lot of pushback from escrow. But if you have loan officers that you can kind of train a little bit, I literally write an email and I say, hey, send this to escrow. And they will. And it'll say, like, this is my signing agent, Kimberly Sennett. She is insured and bonded. She handles all of our signings. I want her to handle all of my signings. What does it take for her to get approved with your company? And then I literally will tell the loan officer, hey, can you send this to your escrow on your behalf? I've never had a loan officer tell me, no, I'm not doing that. Again, this is after you've built a relationship with that loan officer. You don't want to say this to a loan officer immediately coming out the bat or while you're drinking coffee for the first time. This is after you've built a relationship and you've done multiple signings for them. This is how you get in. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now that we know our strategies, what is our sales pitch? What do we say? And we've kind of been talking about this a little bit, right? So now that you have someone in front of you, that whether they said yes to coffee or you walked into their office and you have somebody in front of you, no matter who it is, what do you say? At this point, it is time to sell yourself. And like I told you, one of the best ways of doing this is to know your craft. Know your foundation, know your notarial laws, and know them well, okay? If you're marketing yourself for general notary work, what do you want to say to convey that you're a good notary? You want to tell them that you're insured, that you're bonded, that you know your laws, and that you know quality products, that you use good paper and pens, that you have all the proper stamps for your business. All of those things, just letting somebody know and giving them the confidence that you know what you're doing is going to make them want to hire you. If you're marketing loan signing business, explain that you understand those documents, just like I told you earlier, interspousal grant deed, that you have urgency, that you understand that these documents need to get back to escrow or they need to get into FedEx that day. You need to convey it and you need to convey it with confidence. If you do not have one of these, and I can, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. This is a UV fraud fighter. It's a UV pen. If you are coming to the Notary Academy retreat in October, we actually had them sponsor us, and we are giving out 10 of these to 10 lucky people at the retreat. But oh yeah, you can kind of see it here. If you're not using one of these pens, you're not doing your job as a notary, period. I don't care what state you are in, and as a national signing service owner, you should have one of these. It's going to cost you about $50 and it is worth every single penny. Do not go buy one of these on Amazon because it is not the same. They sell these to law enforcement and to notaries and to banks. These are fraud fighters. Your number one job as a notary is to identify somebody properly and to be a human fraud detector. And so you absolutely should have a UV fighter, fraud fighter pen. The reason I bring this up in a marketing presentation is because guess what, guys? Use this for marketing. General notary work or direct work, no matter what it is. Tell your potential clients that you take your job as a notary public very serious, and that your number one job is to identify somebody properly, and that you at all cost use a fraud fighter UV pen to make sure that you are identifying people properly, especially when it comes to real property. Loan signing agents, listen up. You should be using these pens. You should also be using this 24 ID guidebook. They put a new one out every February. This, if you don't know this, there's holograms on IDs that when you use that UV pen, certain things pop out so that you can be assured if you're using a fake ID, if you have a fake ID or if it's an authentic ID. You want to make sure that you use, if you are using this and you have studied your ID guide well, you want to make sure that you use this as a marketing technique. Tell your clients that this is part of your way of identifying somebody and that you use it every single time. If you are a loan signing agent, make sure you convey to your escrow that you not only use a UV fighter, fraud fighter pen, but you understand the importance of using one, especially when it comes to vacant land deeds. So, what are some objections you have gotten while marketing your business? Now is the time for us to talk about some of the objections that you've gotten that you have maybe not been able to overcome. So, let me look in the chat here right now. Yeah, so the pen, you don't buy it on Amazon. You buy it from, if you Google UV fraud fighter, you can go to www.fraudfighter.com. That's where they sell them, fraudfighter.com. And then you can buy the ID checking guide from the National Notary Association. I think you can also buy this on Amazon as well, the ID checking guide for United States and Canada edition. So again, those are great marketing things that you can tell your clients. Okay, let me go back into the chat here. Yeah, don't use Amazon. Dawn, thanks for putting the link in there. Audra has put it in there as well.
Kim, what did you say? Why not to use the Amazon? Do they not work right?
Yeah, they don't work right. They don't pop up the correct holograms the way that they're supposed to. And
Oh,
yeah, these pens are, like I said, they're specifically for banks, police, and notaries. What are the best techniques for Ron? So honestly, for Ron, the same techniques that I've given you, those 5 techniques today, you can use all those techniques for being a remote online notary as well. You can do the emails, you can do the social media and the networking, going to networking groups and letting people know that you are a remote online notary and that you can help in your state is huge. And just getting out there and just letting people know. Even going in and pounding the pavement. Again, I know you're working online, but to get yourself out there and market, you should be using all the same techniques, just conveying that you are a remote online notary. I hope that helps, Antoinette. If you have more questions, let me know. Okay, I had a loan officer tell me once she didn't know how to request me as the notary. Okay, perfect. That's very common thing as well, because like I said, loan officer, the escrow, all of them, I'm sorry, the real estate, they all usually just leave it up to escrow. Oh, escrow will handle it. So all you have to do is tell the loan officer, oh, you can request me through escrow, but more importantly, let's write escrow a little email, like I said, and just introduce me. Hi, this is my notary, Kimberly Sennett. She signs all of my deals for me. I would like to use her for this particular signing. And again, escrow could say, well, she's not on the approved list. Then have your loan officer push back and say, okay, what does it take to get her on the approved list? I really want to use her. What do I have to do? Usually they will allow it. Yeah, the non-fraud fighter, you want to make sure Audra's showing in the chat the difference between the non and the fraud fighter. So you can see here, like nothing pops up in her picture that she's put up there. And then when you do it with the right one, you can see the actual hologram pop up. So yes, Nikki, I have seen fake ID. So, but I haven't seen them with the holograms. The fake IDs have been where their picture, like on a California ID. Now, keep in mind, today is a national presentation, so this is for every state. But in California, we have hidden photos in the ID. So that's a lot of times with the fake ID, the hidden photos won't show up, or the hidden photos there, but it's misplaced or it's too dark. So the UV pen still does help. It might not show the hologram, but it's actually going to show the placement of certain things that are not present. If that makes sense. Thank you, Audra. Yeah, she said the fraud fighter has different filtering and light system, and the details are not able to stand out without them. Is there a page on the Notary Academy site for supplies, bags, etc. that are good to have with us? So yes, we do have a what's in my notary bag, and that is in several of our lessons of the products that we love to use. Yes, yes, Samantha, you do need your own fraud fighter pen. I believe every single notary should have one. No matter what state you're in, you should have one and you should use it on a regular basis. And if you're signing for Seal the Deal, I would, if I know you have one and you use it, we will mark you preferred. It's super important. And we do a lot of vacant land fraud, so. Yeah, you should each notary have their own if they share an office, I guess is what I'm wondering. I mean, if you're sharing an office, I think you should each have your own, but if you're sharing an office where you guys can share tools like that, I'm sure, you could get away with using it with each other if you're not notarizing at the same time. What should you do if you encounter a fake ID? So, if you get a fake ID, I think it's very important that you make sure that your safety is number one. And so if you feel that it's going to become a safety issue for you, you should continue on with the notarization, but make sure that you notarize in properly. So maybe stamp it and then maybe put a line through your stamp and then sign your name across it. Do something that is going to make it completely invalid where it looks official to them, but we know that it's completely invalid. And then once you're done with the signing, report it to the authorities. Call the police and make a police report. Call SOS, do whatever you need to for your state and what's proper in your state. If you can take a picture of the ID, I always tell my signers that, especially for loan signing, that it's a requirement of the lender. I need to take a picture of the ID. Make up some way that you can take a picture. That way you can report it with the police report. Yeah, like Dawn just said, if you feel unsafe, stamp and render the stamp improper. Exactly. Okay, so I want to offer you all a reward today for showing up for our masterclass for marketing. Today only for the next 24 hours. Our loan signing, our signing agent course is normally $349. We are offering it with $100 off. Again, this is only good for 24 hours. So you can scan that code. I think Audra's going to put it in the chat as well. And then you will have access to the course and to the loan signing certification. It is honestly the best signing agent course on the market. Both myself and Laura made this course. It took us almost a year to do it. Both her and I each have 3 loan signing certifications. We took what was holes and problems in all the other courses and made the most comprehensive course we could. It is everything you need to know from A to Z. If you already have a loan signing certification, I still encourage you to take this one as well. And it's a $100 discount. So take it while you can. And if you are not a Notary Academy student, we are currently in Arizona, California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Maryland, Texas, and Washington. If you are not a Notary Academy student and you are in one of those states, we would love to have you join us. Our monthly membership fee is $29 a month. There's no contracts. We have tons of training. I always say it, even if you only join for 1 month and pay the $29, watch every single training video. I promise you, it will make you a better notary. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are on the Notary Society groups. Anything that we can do for you or where we can guide you to be the best notary that you can be, or if you have questions about today, please feel free to reach out to us at support@mynotaryacademy.com. Thank you all for joining me today. Have a great rest of your week. Take care.